Hey harmonizers, welcome to this video with Cadbury. We're going to show you some moments where he has some big, oh my goodness moments, and you realize why I'm taking things really slowly and just kind of bringing him back into work. So this is me just asking him to lunge over the jump after already warming him up, doing a few little things. And that moment of refusing the jump, and see how awkwardly he's jumping it there? That's him avoiding feeling the girth in the saddle really well. Keep in mind, this is a treeless saddle, so it is not hurting his back in any way, shape, or form. It's literally kind of like a bareback pad with stirrups, just prettier with leather and having some panels, so it does have some stability. He's got foam pads that have impact protection on, like with the thin line pad underneath that other pad that you can't see. And the girth, we ended up getting a string girth that was a bit shorter to hopefully fit him a little bit better. So we've done our best to try to make sure that everything feels okay with them, and he just doesn't like the feeling of it. So then when I go back into this area here where, okay, he went over the jump a couple times, so now what I'm doing is simply just picking up the stirrup and moving it. But just in general, him around his belly area is very sensitive to different things. So you can see I'm just moving the stirrup up and down. I'm not like whacking him with it or anything. I'm just fluttering the stirrup a little bit. And Cadbury's having that initial of like, oh my gosh, it's around that girth area, that belly area. You could be a predator trying to eat me. And it's fair. Like, you were a wild horse. Some wild horses, depending on where they are in the wild, they legit have to worry about cougars from eating them. It's a thing that happens. They get eaten in the wild. Not in most places, but in some they do. Even up in Canada, we have wild horses and they get eaten by wolves and all sorts of stuff. So it's a thing that they have to be worried about their belly and their vital organs that are in that area. So I'm just doing my best to go slowly. I give him a cookie when he's doing really well to try to have positive associations. But I'm just gently flapping that stirrup, trying to have a really chill manner to my body. My body language is just like, this is the thing. The stirrup dances a little bit. Every so often that stirrup just moves and wiggles a little bit, and we're just walking. We're just chilling. And that's my whole vibe and energy with Cadbury. I want to have that posture of, this isn't the end of the world. Like, it's okay. And then I offer him a cookie and some praise when he's doing a good job. So what I'm not doing is holding onto that stirrup and looking at him in a sneaky way where it's like, are you going to be bothered by this, Cadbury? I'm going to like whack and slack this like stirrup and I'm going to see if you're going to be bothered. It's like, no, I'm just going to pick it up and move it a little bit. Hey, that time you didn't react at all. I'm going to give you a cookie for having the emotional control that you were able to handle that. And you notice I kind of start flapping it while he's standing still, and then I guide him forward with the halter and rope to ask him to move. Here I'm asking him to go sideways on purpose. And I'm just starting to teach him like that flapping of the stirrup doesn't really mean anything unless I put some intention and purpose to it. And then it can mean move. And it's not making you move in terms of like, hey, I'm trying to kill you, make you move. It's trying to communicate a message of, hey, this time it's telling you to go sideways. Excellent job. Here comes your cookie, Cadbury. So I'm trying to train him out of that panic, that fear response where he goes, oh no, this could be really awful, and train him into, let's communicate, let's talk to each other. This is all just part of a language. You don't need to be scared. So my whole mentality is, I believe you can do this. I know you can do this. I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be patient, and I'm going to help you understand. And when he gets overwhelmed, I try to be careful not to add more. So we repeat until we have relaxation and understanding, giving that positive reinforcement as he gets it right, and just gradually progressing. So after I do a little bit more of that groundwork, I go to getting on him. So this is me doing the belly flop where I just go over his back and essentially I'm rubbing him on his belly and I'm just seeing how he's doing. Going to start to rub him. And then when he feels ready, Katie's taking him for a little walk for me. Just doing a few little steps, getting him used to that weight again. Because at this point, it's been a few weeks since Joe got on him and then I got on him with Joe's help. So it's been a long time since he's actually had a person fully on his back. And sometimes what happens with Mustangs especially, can happen with young horses too, but more especially with horses that are more feral and they're more prone to that fight or flight response because they lived in that for so long, that fear state, is that you can do a little bit of work with them, and then if you're not consistent with it, they can regress a little bit, meaning they can become a little bit more fearful and go a little bit back to that fight or flight. They do tend to do better with a little bit of consistency in the beginning until you get that solid foundation of, oh yeah, this is totally fine. My human's going to give me cookies. There's nothing to be scared of. Like, this is all great. And then once they get to that point, you can have a horse like Alfie, who's my Mustang that now belongs to my little 6-year-old daughter, and she can ride him around super safely, even if he's done nothing for several weeks, because we've established all of that with him. And so he's totally domestic now, very trusting of people, no issues whatsoever. So what we're doing now is I go up and she walks him a little bit, and then he gets some cookies, and then I get off and we make sure we do both sides. And I decided to leave this footage all running in just real time for you so you could see just how slow and patient we go with. We stand at the block, I put my weight, I'm going to sit on you for a second here, I'm going to rub you, I'm going to just continue rubbing you. I want you to know that I'm here and I'm present. I'm going to rub you on both sides. I'm going to let you think about this. So it's definitely not a get on and let's just go, 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 and potentially open up that whole bronching horse situation that could come up if you push a horse too soon. Instead, I just get on and I sit and we breathe and rub you a little bit, let you think and process, bend over and rub a little bit more. Katie gives a cookie, and then we go for a little walk. He does a couple funny little side steps as he's turning because he's just getting used to my weight. But for the most part, I'm just sitting there, not doing a whole lot. So this is me speeding up the footage now to give you an idea of the amount of time that goes in. So this is times 8 the speed. So if this was not sped up for you, this would be a very long chunk of video. I get off, you can see I come to the other side, I get the mounting block again and get on. And this is all part of allowing his mind time to process and reset, because I don't want him to feel like he has to yell at me to get my attention. I want him to know that he can give me smaller signs and that I'll listen. So for example, by getting on and riding a little bit with him, what we're doing now is like doing a little bit of moving his hips or backing up, moving shoulders, and moving around a little bit. I cut out some of the footage just so it wasn't ridiculously long for you. And then here's me riding a little bit more after moving him around a little bit, and then now we're trying to go forward again and working on some different things. And then by dismounting, it lets him just kind of reset and go, okay, like that was all right, that wasn't so bad, and then I can go ahead and try to get on again. And if he felt like it was too hard or that it was a little bit too intense for him, he could in that moment fidget at the mounting block or be shy at the mounting block or do something when I go to get on him that would tell me, hey, like this is hard for you. So here's a moment where I get off and you can see I'm just rubbing his belly and everything because I felt like he was a little bit sticky, like he lost a little bit of that smoothness and that rhythm. So I just get off and I'm just rubbing him on his belly, patting him around, reassuring him like, hey, things can touch your belly. It's just my hand. It's not going to hurt you. And taking that time to just communicate with him that little extra bit, rocking the saddle around to give him a chance to just have that lick and chew, that mind reset to emotionally regulate because it just didn't feel as smooth. And then I bring the mounting block over and I'm like, okay, let's try again. And same thing, I pause while on him and I'm like rubbing him on his belly, just kind of assessing those layers because I'm a big believer of trying not to go to the next step until you have relaxation understanding with the prior step. And sometimes that, you're not expecting the horse to look like some super old seasoned pro. Relaxed and understanding doesn't necessarily mean that. Relaxed and understanding means willing participant and understanding of the cue that you're trying to do. At least that's what it means to me, as that they're taking part and they're present in what you're doing. So I'm doing the walking on him again with the belly flop over and just rubbing him on his belly, just double checking that this is not a big thing and that we can walk a little bit more regularly. And what I find is when we take the time to do these things slowly, and what can look very boring, this is very boring looking horse training where we're walking very slowly, and you can see I'm rubbing on his belly. See how I'm just politely, I was patting with my right hand there on his belly. And then guess what? He's going to get a cookie, because the goal is to keep him from getting super emotionally overwhelmed. There's going to be moments like how when I was flapping the stirrup at the start of this video where he kind of jumped away from me a little bit and was like, oh no, this is hard. Or going over the jump for the first time where he was like, I don't know if I can. But it's those moments where we can become a great teacher for our horse, where we can say like, hey, I know this is hard for you, but like you can do it. Like, let's try again. Like, I believe in you. This is going to be totally okay. And then reward them when they do that. Then we get to a place where the horse can start to be like, oh, wow, like I learn and I can feel okay learning, and you help me learn. And if I'm having a hard time, you can be patient with me and you can help me do that. So it's a great thing that we can do for our horse when they have some moments where they struggle a little bit, and then we help them overcome that. That's the moments where we can really build a lot of trust with our horse. The same way with people, if you think of teachers in your own life where you're like, oh man, I really love that teacher. Chances are that you can probably think back to a memory where they significantly helped you or had you feel some type of emotion at some point, where they helped you with a tough problem, or they made learning fun, they made you feel like you could ask questions. But if, let's say, you have a teacher that you look back on as like your worst teacher ever, chances are they either didn't help you and they made you feel really confused, didn't really engage you or challenge you, or it could be that when you did struggle and you had a hard time, that they were mean to you, that they yelled at you, or they weren't able to help you, and then that's not going to build a lot of trust at all. So I've sped up the footage a little bit, cut out a little bit of pieces, just to not make it super long and boring for you guys, showing you here now doing some of the backup again. So the idea is that I don't want the horse to think that all I want is go and whoa or go and stop. There's more to that. I want to stay in a conversation. So for me, I love the saying, stay out of a routine, stay in a conversation. And part of having a conversation is the horse needs to know, okay, like this is how the reins work and this is how my legs work. So I can pull back on the reins for the stop and the back up, and I want to be able to do that. Or I can use here'd be my left leg, bumping him a little bit to say, move your butt around, and just allow him to understand that when the leg touches you, the leg from me is trying to talk to you and tell you something. That's what it's trying to do. So instead of getting scared and thinking just go or run away, I want you to think, like, what's that saying? This is actually part of a language, and what does that mean? And then you can see I praise him afterwards, and I try to reassure him, like, you've done an awesome thing, buddy. Like, this is really good. We pause in between, so there's lots of time to process in between the cues that we're asking him to do before we go on to the next thing. Because I'd rather my horses learn slow down and think rather than rush forward and go fast, which can put them into a frame of mind where they just get a little bit antsy and can't even slow down and think because it's not something that we're practicing doing. So I take that time to slow, think, consider what just happened. And then when I was given a rump, I realized that he didn't like me touching his ear. So now I'm like, oh, great. Okay, relaxation, understanding. We can't go on to the next task until we solve that other task. So now what I'm doing is I'm spending a little bit of time of just rubbing his head. And this is something like he lets me rub his head and his ears, but because I'm sitting on his back, it just felt a little overwhelming to him. But what a great opportunity to be like, hey, like this is hard for you, but watch, I'm going to go slowly and I'm going to gradually go up there. I'm going to remove my hand before you have a reaction so that I can show you that I acknowledge that this is hard for you, Cadbury. But we'll take the time to do that. Instead of just saying, oh, that's hard for you, Cadbury, I'm not going to do that. I say, hey, let me do this slowly for you, little bits. And then once you stood there, I gave him a cookie there. And then I'm just moving around a little bit more. You can see I'm moving my feet around in the stirrups before I hopped off, and wanted to finish on a really good note. I'm just rubbing around his body and everything like that. And it's a great opportunity to just help him and remind him that, hey, like, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to touch, and I can rub, and I'll look for spots where you like scratches, and trying to help it become a good experience for him. So I feel like we addressed a lot of challenges in this session, and I'm really excited to see how the next session goes, because we got over a lot of stuff. So let me know what you guys think and what was the biggest success for you in this video.
Remember to subscribe and check out harmonyhorsemanship.com for even more learning.